All right. First and foremost, I'm gonna say all praises be to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem Makar Kodash. And then I'm gonna say double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and shalom to the sincere elect, teaching this truth and faith and sincerity. Quick topic I want to speak on is this video, like in response to this whole Tommy Robinson anti-Muslim, anti-migrant battle for Britain protest that's been happening. And the title of this is "Behold the Baconites." Behold the Baconites. Because obviously us my brothers out here, like in the UK, in the camp that we have, we a nickname that we coined for these low IQ, as they say, British British, Edomites, which of course, a lot of them are as well, scattered white Jake, but just, British Edomites. A nickname that we have for them is Baconites. You know, and it's funny at this march, right? I'm gonna play this video, but this sums up the mindset of a lot of these British Edomites over here. Because in films, the Brit is obviously come across as being suave and well spoken, and being James Bond and all that. But a large quantity of these Baconites in the UK are just low IQ council estate, which is the council estates over here is, equivalent to what they call the projects, in America. A lot of these Edomites in the UK across these towns that are spewing, anti-migrant, get out of our country mindset. They're just some of the most uneducated, dirty, stupid, dumb, low intelligence people. And it's funny that her brothers for a long time have been calling them Baconites to, mock them, because bacon in, and pork in general in a traditional British food is very key in so-called authentic British food, because even other things they're famous for, like fish and chips or whatever, those are things that have been imported from other kind of cultures from migrants. But let's just say, like, this, the stereotypical British diet, pigs and blankets or whatever it may be, pork, bacon in general, right, is a big part of it. And at this march, I couldn't believe, like I said, this is a walking skit, right? I couldn't even believe my eyes what I was seeing. And let's look at what happened on stage to see how I can't believe this. I can't believe, man. It's funny, man. These elites, man, are playing like a prank on these people, man. When they see these videos and these marches happening, they must laugh at this shit. But anyway, I'll play this video.
Wow, you really showed the Muslims, bro. Yeah, you really showed the Muslims. Bacon, yeah. And then they're gonna hold up a crucifix. It's like Jesus didn't eat bacon, but none of them know anything.
Yeah,
They don't.
yeah. It's something that we always say. These Baconites claim that this is a Christian country. We're a Christian country, and we go into the information, and a lot of these people are culturally Christian. Meaning the only time they go to a so-called church is at a wedding or a funeral, and it's just something to just say. A lot of them can't point to you where Revelation is in the Bible, even though that's the last book. That's how these Baconites are, man. And here is your anti-migrant battle for Britain protest. Yeah, I mean, and you have an immigrant, right? You have an Asian on video putting bacon on himself, and you're like screaming and chanting in the crowd, like, hey, hey, hey. It just shows you how low these people are, man. Anyway, let me play this.
Really showed the Muslims bacon, yeah, and then they're gonna hold up a crucifix. It's like Jesus didn't eat bacon, but none of them know anything. They don't know what he also didn't eat bacon, bro. And so many of the other Zios that are waving the Israeli flag, Jews don't eat bacon. Yeah, we're gonna really show those Muslims. You're just an idiot putting food on yourself.
Have you seen the Scotty interview when he turned up with the bacon?
Dude, what is
Bro,
Goyim,
that is almost, I mean, equivalent of like, Jake going to a concert and niggas just started throwing fried wings and barbecue chicken on stage, and then the people like in the crowd start to chant. You know what I mean? If we saw Jake on stage with a piece of watermelon and fried chicken doing this, we would be mocked at. But here it is, the high IQ Brits, right? Are screaming in the crowd and chanting for a man putting bacon on himself, and that's why we call these black people Baconites, man.
yourself.
Have you seen the Scotty interview when he turned up with the bacon?
Dude, what is Goyim, bro? Goyim.
This fucking cokehead agent, man.
Oh my, the Goyim.
Let's get this.
Hey, and obviously there's further pictures coming out of the so-called protest. Here it is. They're talking about migrants are ruining our country and dirtying up their country, and all these migrants have to leave, and they're destroying the streets of Britain. But at your march for the battle of Britain, man, this is the kind of stuff you're just doing in public. You know what I mean? Just like literally low IQ Baconites, man. And then on stage, they even have this. This is just honestly, these Brits over here, man, have benefited from movies and PR. Obviously, in comparison to your average Americans, different, but bro, the stupidity of these Baconites isn't far behind. It's arguably the same level. Bro, this gotta be a skit, man.
Let me hear you.
Here it is. You're talking about the Battle of Britain and migrants getting out of your country, and you got three probably Nigerians on stage. Oh, Jake, man.
Just the men. And the women. Now everyone together. 1, 2, 3.
Bro, these like this, you got that lady in the middle. This is the average British neighborhood, man. People like this, low IQ, low spirit, low everything.
They tried to silence, tried to shame. We won't bow nor play their game. Speak the truth, we stand our ground. Within the people that power's found. Come one, come all, stand side by side. Time to stand, we must not hide. Raise your voices, raise your voice. Free speech lives, it's still our choice. Come one, come all, the time has come.
Anyway, enough of this shit, man. I'm gonna bring out some scriptures. Well, I just saw this and I said this truly got to be a skit. So obviously the march is what's the name? It says Tommy Robinson tells tens of thousands of Britain at London rally to prepare for the Battle of Britain. You know, turn out down at a second United Kingdom march featuring Islamic phobic ethno nationalist hate speech and flyers. So the Battle of Britain includes putting bacon on yourself. Damn. But anyway, let's get into some scriptures. Right, this is Job 30:1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. Now, obviously, Esau was the elder brother of Jacob, but in spirit, we came first. Because I mean, if we could go back to Isaac, their father, of course, in spirit, of course, man, he's an Israelite. The Lord Himself, in Adam, but I mean, just as spirits, we came before them anyway, in spirit, what I mean. It says, but I wanted to skip to the point. It says, they were children of fools. This is verse 8. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth, man. And it says, and now am I their song, yea, I am their byword. And it's like, here it is, they mock Jake for being a certain way or insult Jake for their, intelligence, right? But then it's like, bro, the average everyday, Edomite, right, are just a fucking idiot, man. Because they get good rep because of the elites, really. You know what I mean? Because they're elites, like, say, like these German inventors or whatever, of the smartest of them, that gives Esau, like, as a whole, I mean a lot of attention and PR. But your average everyday Edomite, especially a Baconite, as I'm referring to, they're some of the most stupid, like the most weak, stupid, low IQ people on the planet. Because us brothers went to school with them and shit. Not every Brit is James Bond, man. A lot of these people are fucking retarded. In school, there was some of the dumbest in the class. And then now they hate on these Nigerians and stuff that come to Britain that just usurp them completely, like in the school system. Their birth rates are low, and really their birth rate of Britain is being really kept up by the same migrants they complain about. They obviously complain about migrants from different nations coming forth and taking their jobs when you couldn't do the jobs that migrants do, and you simply don't have the skills to do it. And that's why, right? It's gonna be absolutely beautiful, right? When these elites start just, really taking these people out, because they think that their elites care about them. You know, in the NWO that's about to be like established. You know, if it was to be fully established, man, a lot of your average everyday Edomites are getting taken out too, slaughtered too. You know, you know when they're talking about maintaining the population of Earth under 500 million with perfect balance of nature, it doesn't include any of you low IQ fucking Edomites anyway. Therefore, this is Revelation 12:12. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because you know if you have but a short time, you know, and he's gonna come down, right? Because obviously, what we're speaking and preaching is far evident to see that, you know, he obviously know if you have but a short time. But the point is, it says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because, you know, of course, you know, us our brothers in the faith, they're gonna obviously have to endure, you know, hardness as a good soldier. With, you know, with much tribulation, we shall enter into the kingdom. But guess what? These people out here going to suffer too. You know, here it is. You know, like we saw with COVID and lockdown. These same Baconites that started off being against the jab soon became people who are taking it to protect our country. And these same sheeple, right, are going to be chipped. Your own elites see you as cattle anyway. You see? And it's going to be absolutely, you know, fantastic to obviously see. Hopefully, we obviously obtain mercy when these food shortages come to pass, and when the complete effects are being felt of the Strait of Hormuz, and global famine takes place. A lot of these same Baconites that, you know, was talking about taking our country back, or whatever it is, they're gonna be eating each other, man. Right? This is Second Ezra 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Yeah. So the beginning of famine, of sorrows, of wars, and great death. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? A lot of these Baconites go and get drafted, man. Here it is. You're so passionate, right, about fighting for your country. Well, a lot of you gonna get caught up, man, like in that draft. You know, and a lot of you gonna really feel the perks of famine, which there are no perks of famine, right? You know, because a lot of you gonna starve, man. Especially over here, you know what I mean, in Britain, especially in these major cities. You know what I mean? Like at least people from other regions in the earth, they've kind of experienced, you know, hardship, like in regards to food and scarcity. These guys, on the other hand, never have. All right? It says, behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be awful mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evil grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And it's going to be like, you know, again, the average Edomite, Baconite, British man is an absolute low testosterone weakling. And these lot are going to be literally eating each other, man. You know, like it's going to get that real, man. You know, Here it is that they talk about the British Empire and how great and grand the British Empire was, not knowing that this whole migrant kind of issue that happens and exists. These are all effects of colonialism. The only reason why you have migrants in these countries that you are complaining about is because the British Empire, or whoever it be, the French or the Dutch, you destroy these other countries and nations. So what ends up happening later on down the line is that the same map or the same route that you took into their countries to destroy their homelands and their people. What later happens is that they use that same route to now migrate into your countries for a better standard of living because you've destroyed their countries. It's common sense. It's like it's like this. If your country was conquered by the Portuguese, you are inherently gonna have a lot of Angolan migrants in Portugal because the people now speak Portuguese. You know, just like over here, like in the UK, you have a lot of Ghanaians and Nigerians because guess what? They was colonized by the British. In France, Paris, you have a lot of people from French-speaking countries. So for whether if we from West African, French-speaking countries in Paris, they've got a lot of migrants from French-speaking countries. Why are they there? They're there because of what you did to their countries, man. But again, you try and have these conversations, and the level of that Baconite brain can't even think on that level. That's why these elites see a lot of these people, especially their own, as useless eaters, man. Again, don't get me wrong. A lot of these are bugged out white jakes, but guess what? They might as well be like an Edomite because they're acting like them. And it's like, of all Edomites in Europe, the most hated of them are British Edomites. And it's shown, especially in like sports and football tournaments, because these British Baconites are just known for just literally careless, debaucherous, disgusting behavior in these other countries. Like a big thing people over here, like in Britain, do is go to like Ibiza or kind of islands around Greece and stuff to go and party, and these local people in these countries, the people they hate the most is Brits, because the Brits go over there and just put rubbish everywhere. They get absolutely disgustingly drunk and vomit everywhere and shit on the floors and shit, and it's just totally disgusting. But they seem to think that they can still live off of the hype of the British Empire, when it's like, bro, you're some of the most basis of the base, man. It's like the worst of Esau, right? This is Daniel 4 and 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Yeah, Esau as a nation, starting off with elites, you didn't get this power that you have because you're so great or you're so wise. No, you got this power that you have because the Lord gave it into your hands. And guess what? Again, it's really dealing, Esau's a nation, but really these elites, because the average Edomite is a 2-time loser anyway. You're just undisputed losers. Yeah, and your elites never gave you the piece of the pie. And because you never got a piece of the pie, you're now trying to blame it on Jake and migrant peoples from different nations, when it's like, bro, go and have that conversation with your elites about the piece of the pie. Anyway, it says, and give it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the basis of men. And in this state, man, and yeah, as a nation in general, children of base, man, the most basis of the base is Esau. You know, the smartest is them, you know, these Germans and stuff. But as a nation, man, they're just all base. Just in terms of how they keep themselves clean, their morals, just nothing but mischief, man. And that's why even these elites, you know, they themselves know that a large amount of their own useless eaters they're gonna have to be taken out, you know, and that's something they've banked for. Like I keep for getting the name of that document. I don't know if it's Project Megiddo or the is it the King Alpha plan? You know, if someone knows, I can't. Obviously, man, I'll look it up. But how it mentions they got like a red list, a yellow list, and a blue list, and the red list will like apply to, you know, brothers, apostles, and teachers, you know, that are, you know what I mean, awakened, and the blue list, I believe, is the followers of those on the red list. And I think the people on the red list, if I'm not mistaken, are those that they just plan to just take out because they're too kind of influential and awoken. And the blue ones, if I'm not mistaken, is the same. But the yellow list are those that, you know, they know that these people ain't gonna put up any fight against this NWO like agenda. Just a bunch of useless eaters that are gonna get chipped, man. But hey, it's funny. They're all making noise about battling for their country. Soon, your ass is gonna be battling for food, because you're gonna be, you know, dealing with the effects of famine, man. You know, and starvation. And these people will eat each other, man. All right. So anyway, with that, I just wanted to touch on that. Behold the Baconites, right? So with that, we're gonna say all praises be to Yahweh Shema Shai Shema Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders. A great millstone. Until next time, we're gonna say Shalom.